Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're going to be talking about some authors that are new to me that I really want to read in 2024. I have so many authors that I want to get to that I haven't gotten to yet. I could sit here and film and talk about it for 5 hours, but I obviously can't do that. I don't want to make this a super long video, so I'm just going to go through some of the top priority ones to get to in 2024 and ones that I have had on my TBR for so long, or ones that I've heard amazing things about that I absolutely think I'm going to love. Some of them that I have already on my physical or digital TBR, like owned TBR already. So I'm just gonna get to them and we're gonna talk about some books. So the first one that I have is Tiffany Roberts. This is a alien/monster romance author, and this is the author that writes the spider romance. I will not be reading the spider romance. Absolutely not. Spider is a absolute hard limit for me, but she has a couple of different ones that I really want to get to. I want to get to Yearning for Her. This has a plus size heroine, and Avery from Ava's Romance Books has read it and enjoyed it, so I want to read that one. And there are also a couple of others, just like paranormal ones or monster ones, that I want to get to. I'm in a really big paranormal/alien romance mood right now, so I'm probably going to read her relatively soon, but I've had her on my TBR for a really long time and I definitely want to get to her in 2024. The next one that I have is Chloe Walsh. Chloe Walsh became so popular about last year in 2023. I also heard about her in 2022, but specifically in 2023, so many of my friends were reading her, and she got picked up by a publisher. She writes the Boys of Toman series, so Binding and Keeping 13 and Saving and Redeeming 6, and I'm going to try these. Also know that they are incredibly angsty, they are incredibly emotional, they are incredibly long, and that's just not some of the things that are usually like my favorite things, but I'm gonna try them. They're available at the library, so I hope with my whole heart that I will absolutely love them, but if they get to be too much for me, then I'm going to put them down, and it's going to be to no offense to the author or to anyone who loves those books, but I am going to try them because I really do want to, and they are so popular, and they must be popular for a reason, and so many of my friends absolutely love them, so I'm gonna try them. We'll see how I feel. I'll probably vlog if I do end up reading and finishing them. Then I have Sadie Kincaid, who is a mafia romance author. She writes the book Dante, which I really want to read. I read Jagger Cole's Deviant Hearts, that series, and on that video when I had read all those books, somebody commented and said that they had started reading Sadie Kincaid and that they read the series that starts with Dante, which I think is called the New York Ruthless series, and that they loved it, and that if I liked Jagger Cole series that I should try this one. So I really want to read that series. And Sadie Kincaid has been on my TBR for like all of last year, and I never got to her, and I have loving mafia recently, so I want to try a new mafia author. The next one that I have is S.J. Silvis. S.J. Silvis has written Weakside, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Weakside, which is a hockey romance, and then the second one in that series, which has like a gray cover, I can't remember what it's called, also got really good reviews and I think is also a hockey romance, and they came out on audio recently, so I really want to pick them up. I heard really good things about them, and she also has a book that she just wrote recently with S. Mastery, and I've read S. Mastery's not hockey romance series. I've read like a different Why Choose Romance series from her, and I really liked that one, so I want to read this book where they are writing together. Next one I have is Asia Monique. Asia Monique also has this mafia series that I really want to read. The first one is called Sinful Vow, and I was actually on TikTok, and I don't do book talk a ton, but a video came up of somebody talking about this series and how freaking good it was and that it needed more hype, and I went and I downloaded it on KU, but I haven't gotten to it yet, and I really want to. And Asia Monique has so many books, so I definitely want to read at least this mafia romance series, but also maybe some of her other ones that she has. Then the next one is Elisa Braden. Elisa Braden is a indie historical author, and all of her books, or almost all of her books, are on Hoopla, so I can get them for free. So I really want to get to them. I was just not in a historical mood for the last like year and a half, but I really want to get back into historicals. I loved historicals so much in 2020 and into 2021. and I really want to get back to the feelings that I had when I was reading historicals when I first started reading them. So Elisa Braden is, like I said, an indie historical author, and I love indie contemporaries, so I would love to try an indie historical, and I think that I'll love them. And then in that same vein, Scarlett Scott is also an indie historical author, and I really, really want to read her books. I know that Avery from Ava's Romance Books and Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings love their books so, so much, and I think that they actually buddy read them together, and I really want to read them. There is the series that starts with Nobody's Duke, which I want to read, and then also Avery recently talked about the fact that Lady Ruthless, which is another Scarlett Scott book, was on her like favorite books of the year. So I really want to read that series as well, but definitely want to fall back in love with historicals, and those are the two indie historical authors that I really want to get to. Then I have Shanora Williams. I want to read I think it's called Wanting Mr. Kane, that series from Shanora Williams. I heard a ton about it last year and maybe even the year before, and I just have not gotten to it yet, but I definitely want to. That is like a forbidden age gap one. And then I have been completely interested in Vicious Bonds by Shanora Williams. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that book. I honestly don't know a ton about it, but it just sounds really good and like really intrigued by it, and I really want to read it. So those are two that are at the top of my TBR from Shanora Williams. Then I actually have a physical copy of this one, and that is Katharina Mora. This book is included in my 12 books that I want to read in 2024 video that I did, which if you haven't seen, I'll link that down below. But I really want to read Katharina Mora, specifically this series that I happen to have. This one, this is not book 1 in the series. This is actually, I think, book 3 in the series. I think the first one is The Wrong Bride, but I want to read this whole series. Definitely this one because I happen to own it physically, but Katharina Mora writes billionaire romances. She is so sweet and so beautiful in real life. I actually met her, and I've just seen so many of my friends really, really loving this series, this book specifically, and a couple of other, I think this book after this one in the series actually was on a couple of my friends that I watched favorite books of 2023 videos, so I definitely want to get to this series. Then I have Kat Singleton, who has been so popular in 2023. I saw so many people reading her books, and I actually met her. She was also really so sweet. I saw her at Book Bonanza, and I really wanted to read her book before Book Bonanza, and then I never got to it, and then I never got to it after I came home from Book Bonanza. So I'm definitely going to get to them in 2024. Black Ties and White Lies I want to read, and also Rewrite Our Story, which is her small town one. Which is, I think, called the Sutton Mountain series. I have like a couple of stickers that I got at Book Bonanza for that series, so I definitely want to read that one, and then Black Ties and White Lies. So those are ones that I definitely want to get to. I've heard really good things about them, and I think I'll love them. Then I have Tal Bauer. Tal Bauer was an author who I had actually seen a ton years ago, like 2020, 2021. I was seeing him talked about a ton because I was reading a lot of hockey romance. That has always been like one of my favorite things, hockey romance, and that's what Tal Bauer writes. He has hockey romances. He also has other just contemporary books, but I know he has a couple of hockey romance ones, and I just have seen him talked about for so long, but I never picked him up specifically because he didn't have audiobooks, or a lot of his books don't have audiobooks, and so I never picked him up. But now that I can read ebooks more, I really want to get to him. The one that I know from Jess, I saw Jess talk about it, which is The Rest of Our Story by Tal Bauer. That one became people's like favorite books, on their favorite books of last year list. That is a really angsty hockey romance, hockey romance, and I want to read that one. I think the other one that I had on my radar was, I think it's called You and Me, You and I. The first word in the title is you. I'll put the picture, but that one also I've heard really, really good things about. So I definitely want to try and get to him, especially now that I can read ebooks without having an audio. Claire Kent is the next one, and Claire Kent has been an author that has been talked about for so much. I know that Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings and Christy from Christy Reads a Lot, they both have talked to me about Claire Kent. I think the series, I don't remember what the series is called, but I know that the first book is called Haven, I think. It has like a candle on the cover, and that one is like a post-apocalyptic I think, romance series, and I've heard such good things about it, and they love that series so much, and I wanted to get to it last year, and I think even the year before, but I never got to it, so I'm going to get to it in 2024. I am determined. Another one is Tori Jean. Tori Jean is an author who has endometriosis and writes her books with endometriosis rep in them. And the one that I heard about first was called Finding Jean Kelly, and it doesn't have an audiobook, which is why I never got to it previously. But again, now that I can read ebooks more without audiobooks, I really want to get to her, especially because I have never officially been diagnosed with endometriosis. I've never had like the surgery to diagnose me, but I've had doctors tell me that they think I have it, or they're working under the assumption that I have it. So I really want to read a book that I will probably very much relate to with their endometriosis rep, and having good endometriosis rep, because I've actually read a couple of books that have bad endometriosis rep. So I'd love to get to her books and have another book with good chronic illness rep in it. Then I have Greer Rivers, who wrote the book Phantom. And then I think she has one called Rouge. I think that's the second book, which is a Moulin Rouge retelling. But Phantom is a Phantom of the Opera retelling, and then Rouge I think is Moulin Rouge. And I think these covers are so, so beautiful. I really want to get to them. I just think that they sound so freaking good, and I'm determined to read these. They've been on my TBR since 2022 because I wanted to read them before I saw her in Vegas, and then didn't end up seeing her in Vegas because I never actually read the books, but I still want to very much. And I honestly don't really know what these are about. I just know it's Phantom of the Opera retelling. I don't know if it's contemporary or dark or whatever, but either way, the cover is beautiful. I want to read it. Then I have Willow Astor. Willow Astor is a small town author, and I've been wanting to read the series that starts with Unforgettable by Willow Astor. That series, I've been wanting to read that for a while. And then I also know that she has a series written with, I think, Laura Pavlov that I definitely want to get to. And I heard that that series is coming to audio in 2024. So I'm definitely going to pick up that series as well. I will put the picture in the first book on the screen. I don't remember what it's called. Then the last author that I haven't read yet, that's a new to me author that I want to get to, is Samantha Young. This is another one that was on my 12 books to read in 2024 video. I have wanted to read Samantha Young for a really long time. She writes romantic suspense ones. That's what like this series is, and her Adair series. And this is the series I really want to get to. I've heard such good things about this book, which is Beyond the Thistles from the Highland series. And then I also know that she has a couple of other like standalone ones. So I want to get to her so, so much. I think that I'm really going to love her. I said in that 12 books to read in 2024 video that she just seems like an author that could be like an all-time favorite. So I really want to get to her, and I'm determined in 2024. And then for the end of this video, I just want to mention two authors who I've actually read before, but I've only read one book by them, and I want to read more from them in 2024 because I loved the one book that I read from them. And those authors are Nyla K, who I read For the Fans, which I actually think I have. It happens to be next to me because I was taking Instagram pictures. So I read For the Fans and absolutely loved it, and I want to read more from her. I want to read her, I think it's called Alabaster Penitentiary series. The first one's called Distorted. It looks so good. It seems so interesting, and it's MM, and I really want to get to that one. And then the other author who I've already read one book from, but I want to read more from, is Victoria Aveline. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I've just really been loving alien romance lately, and I adored Choosing Theo. It was on my honorable mentions for my top 10 books for 2023. I loved that book so freaking much, and it's the only book that I've read by Victoria Aveline, so I really want to read more from her and hopefully love it as much as I love Choosing Theo. But that's it for the authors that I'm going to talk about in this video. They're like top priority ones. Please let me know down in the comments which ones I should prioritize. If you've read and love any of these authors, let me know, or a specific book that maybe I didn't talk about in this video that you think I would love by these authors. Please let me know. But that's gonna be it. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe, stick around, see more content from me. And I've been loving emojis lately, so leave me a firework emoji in the comments since it's the new year still. But that's gonna be it, so I hope you have the absolute best day. Bye!